Hey guys, what's going on? You are now here in my bedroom where I sleep, where I spend most of my time when I'm not wandering around in the woods throwing arrows at logs. So yeah, today I just wanted to do a little bit of a video on stuff that I'll be using when I go out, things that I bring along when I'm shooting my bow, when I'm hunting, when I'm doing some overnight camping trips, really whatever I'm doing when I leave here and head out there. So stick around and I'll explain some things to you guys. Okay guys, so the first order of business is my Bear Montana longbow. It's 64 inches long, 50 pounds at full draw. I think this is one of the greatest starter bows you can do if you're looking to get into traditional archery. It's great, it's pretty light, it's kind of long, takes some getting used to. It doesn't retail for too much, which is a nice thing about it. It's only about 350, 400 bucks. I've had it for about 4 years. I've definitely got my money's worth out of it. The only thing that I had to do was glue on this grip here on the handle. It's worn away. I replaced it with another piece of leather. No big deal there. Also, this piece has to be glued down every once in a while. It's the shelf where the arrow sits. It's the little piece of leather. All in all, really happy with this. And if you are thinking about getting into this style of archery, I really think that this would be the bow for you. It also comes in a recurve style, same price point, might be a little bit more. But yeah, definitely a great bow. I love it. I'm going to keep it around for a very long time. Okay, so now on to one of the funnest things and most frustrating things in the archery world, arrows. These are the arrows I'm going to be shooting for most of the time now. They are 35-55 spined arrows. They're carbon arrows, they're uncut, so they're full length. I got them from Big Jim's Bow Company. So the weight of the points that I'm using are 125 grains. I've played around with 100, 125, 150. I like the way the 125s are shooting. 150 is also not a bad choice, but I think I'm going to stick with 125. The arrowheads that I'm going to be using are broadheads for larger game. Pretty much solely reserved for that. Maybe even larger small game. The judo point, which is good for small game, for stump shooting, and if you're taking shots in a field, they catch onto the grass a lot better. They're great. I highly recommend them. And for just shooting at foam, we're going to stick with the field tips. They're great, easy to pull out. Really no complaints there. Another good choice for arrows is Cedar Shafts. They definitely go hand in hand with this type of archery, with the instinctive, traditional approach. Wood is amazing. The one downfall of wood is that it's quite fragile, and in cold temperatures it wants to break pretty quickly. Another thing is most of the arrowheads with wood, actually I should say all, they are epoxied onto the end. And this epoxy over time can come loose when you're shooting in wet conditions, from heating up, cooling down, depending, it just becomes loose. I love wood, but carbon is just easier at the moment, and it's a little bit cheaper because you're not losing as many arrows and you're not breaking as many arrows. With carbon, you just have to twist, and that is a really nice feature because it allows you to freely just switch in and out of the different types of tips that you want to do. You don't have to get a whole new arrow. It's just a lot simpler, a little bit more cost effective, although not as romantic as shooting wood. This is a very important piece of equipment. This is my shooting glove that I'm using at the moment. It's just pieces of leather that get wrapped around your fingers. They just slip in like a glove. This is to protect your fingers from the bowstring when you're pulling back, because it's quite a bit of force on your fingers and it does hurt quite a bit. So look into that. Always get one of these. It doesn't have to be top of the line. This one's by Neat and it does the trick. Another very important piece of any archer's kit. This here is an arm guard. Now a lot of people I've heard say, oh, I tried archery, but it hurt. My arm got all bruised up, I was bleeding. That is common. That's why people have these. Something like this or like this. This one is the one that I use all the time. I don't remember who it's made by. I think it's made by Bear or Neat, either of those companies. Yeah, just get a good one. Goes around your arm. It protects your arm from the string when you're firing. Sharp objects. These are extremely necessary anytime you're doing something, be it woodcraft or bushcraft, camping, hunting. These will always be with you. This is a ridiculous assortment of knives that I have. I'm only going to talk about a few that I actually do use on a regular basis. This here is my axe. It's made by Gränsfors. It's a Swedish axe company and it's really high quality. It's handmade, hand assembled. It has the blacksmith's initials on there stamped right into the blade. It's a high carbon steel, so it is very prone to rusting. If you are not good with your equipment and you tend to leave things wet, this will rust very quickly. You can get the rust off, but it's good practice to always keep your stuff well oiled, well taken care of, and dry it off after using. It's a hickory handle, which hickory is quite a nice wood. Right here, the pommel of the axe. This one is called the hunter's axe, and this part is actually used to, when you're skinning an animal like a deer or something, you use to separate the hide from the muscle or the meat. So I have yet to try this feature on the axe, but kind of excited to try it out. It's supposed to work really well. It's sharp as hell. Be very careful. Now, if you can see closely here, I don't know if you can see it, there are some dents or some grooves in the handle, and this is just to help you out with grip when you're skinning. So if you were to have blood on your hands, or even if you're working in the rain, those will help you keep a good grip on your axe. Always keep your axe sheathed when you're not using it. It's good, good care. It's quite an expensive axe. I think I bought this for about $200 retail. Really worth it. Never skimp out on an axe. If you take good care of it, it will take good care of you. So the first knife that is part of my knife clan that I use quite often is a little knife called the Buck Woodsman. It's a 4-inch blade, 420 high carbon stainless steel. It's a rat tail tang, so what that means is the width of this blade actually tapers down and becomes smaller and goes through. So it's not as strong as a full tang knife, but it's not really meant to be bashed around and batoned with, although you probably could. I've seen videos of it done. The handle is a phenolic handle with an aluminum butt guard. This knife is all business. It's not flashy at all. It's small enough, it's comfortable in the hands, and it's really good for those small precision cuts. And I find more use for this knife than of any knife I've ever used, to be honest. This little guy is the Spyderco Resilience. It's actually not that little. It's a little bit over 4 inches. Kinda, I don't know how I feel about this knife. It's pretty good. I carry it on me quite a bit. When I can't carry my fixed blade, which is kind of frowned upon, walking around in the city streets with a fixed blade attached to your hip, I have this guy tucked in my pocket. This is mostly for just everyday use stuff, so cutting up food, bringing it for my lunch, stuff like that. It's nice, large blade, good for cutting. Other than that, there's nothing too special about this knife. Made in China, by Spyderco. Still a good knife though. And a large useless knife that I picked up at a pawn shop. This guy I bought back when I thought it was cool to have big knives. It's not. They're pretty useless. I actually just hate this knife, so I wanted to tell you guys why. Those finger grooves are probably the worst thing to ever happen in a knife handle. They're extremely uncomfortable. Yeah, there's really no use for a large knife besides batoning. For that purpose, yeah, I guess so, but that's where an axe comes in handy, or just a smaller knife that could do the exact same job. Rambo used a knife like this. Rambo was cool. That's about it. Smaller knives are more efficient. It's a K-bar knife that I actually used in my winter archery video. This is actually a really good knife. I know that I just kind of badmouthed big knives a second ago, and I still do. They don't really suit my tastes at the moment, but K-bar, really well made. This is the BK9, large knife, very sharp, high carbon, prone to rust, as all high carbons, which doesn't mean that it's a bad knife. High carbon steel, I would prefer over stainless steel any day. Just keep it well oiled and it'll last you. But yeah, not much use for this knife at the moment. Well guys, thanks for tuning in to another Weekend Warriors video. Hope you enjoyed. Gave you a little glimpse of what I'm carrying around. I'll be back with another video as soon as I can. Hard. Hey guys, how's it going? Like, how's it? What I'm using, and I'll give you a little bit of some reviews on fuck. Hey guys, how you doing today? It's Talon here with fuck, you slap. to show you guys is my bare mantanas, how big you draw. This is a cucumber I grew from my garden. And you get intricate. If you're thinking you want to get into traditional archery,